Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are tuning in from. Welcome to our Startup Canada Startup Gov webinar. We'll just give it a few more seconds to make sure everybody is tuning in. But again, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope everyone had a lovely long weekend. For those of us not in the public service, we had a long weekend, but I know Constance and Sharon were still online working away. So I'll just give it another few seconds here. And then we'll officially get started. We like to be as punctual as we can for these things. So, okay, well, I think that we shall begin. Good afternoon, welcome. Again, I hope everyone had a lovely weekend. I am delighted to welcome you here for Startup Gov's first webinar of the year, entitled Everything Government Can Do for Your Business, presented by Innovation Canada. My name is Natasha Morano, and I am the Director of Corporate and Government Affairs at Startup Canada, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here today. To begin, I would like to acknowledge the land on which I am on today. I am located on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. I also acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of all Indigenous peoples of this country. I encourage all of you to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional territory that you are residing on today. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. Now, for those of you who are perhaps new to the Startup Canada Network, we are a national not-for-profit that is the gateway to Canada's entrepreneurial ecosystem. We are here to connect entrepreneurs with support, community, and tools they need to build successful businesses in Canada. Now, since launching in 2012, which feels like such a long time ago now, Startup Canada has grown to support more than 122,000 entrepreneurs annually, and an ever-growing grassroots community network from coast to coast to coast. Now, Startup Gov is one of Startup Canada's flagship programs, which connects the perspectives of entrepreneurs, innovators, industry executives, and government representatives to really raise the bar for Canada as a globally competitive and innovation nation. The program showcases programming provided at the federal and provincial levels to help streamline access to services for early stage founders. We provide a consistent platform to give every entrepreneur a voice to government and truly create the conditions necessary for entrepreneurial success in Canada. Now, as part of this program, we will be working with our amazing partners over the course of the year to offer webinars such as the one you are tuning in today for. I would like to thank our presenting partner, Amazon, program partners, MasterCard and Export Development Canada, and our ecosystem partner, Moneris, for their support and commitment to truly amplifying the voices of Canadian entrepreneurs and creating spaces such as the one today for entrepreneurs to gain that firsthand experience and knowledge into how accessing government support and funding can support their businesses. Now, today I am joined by two representatives from Innovation Canada for an in-depth session to discuss the programs and services that might be of interest to you and your businesses, and a live demonstration of how to find these programs. The second half of this session will be a live Q&A, where you can pose your questions to our guest speakers. We encourage all of you to use the Q&A box at the bottom of your bar on your screen for this portion of the event. I will also mention that this session is being recorded and will be added to our YouTube channel after as a living resource. Additionally, for all of you who have registered for today's session, Innovation Canada has also prepared a follow-up package, which will be emailed to all of you following today's webinar. Without further ado, I am honored to introduce our speakers today. First, I would like to welcome Shannon Pieris, Communications Strategist at Innovation Canada. Now, Sharon is a communications strategist with the marketing team at Innovation Canada, and she has worked in the business support landscape since 2016. She is certainly passionate about helping entrepreneurs make their dreams come true. She has a special interest in helping support female entrepreneurs in rural communities, and Sharon is based in Ottawa, Ontario. Thank you, Sharon, for being here today. Next, I would like to welcome our second participant, and that is Constance O'Brien, Innovation Advisor at Innovation Canada. Now, with a background in commercializing disruptive ideas and developing successful growth strategies, Constance is here to help. She'll be doing that today. With an international background and expertise in product development, supply chain, marketing, export development, Constance has worked with multiple agro-food and consumer packaged good companies across Europe. She has also helped revitalize customer acquisition and distribution strategies for one of Canada's big 5 banks. And before joining Innovation Canada, Constance worked in the private sector, helping high-growth entrepreneurs access the capital they need to scale. Thank you, Constance, for being here today. I will now turn the virtual screen over to Sharon to officially get things started.
Hi, everyone. Bonjour. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. I would like to acknowledge that I, like Natasha, am also on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. This session is going to run primarily in English, but please feel free to participate in the language of your choice. N'hésitez pas à participer dans la langue de votre choix. This presentation will run in English, but we will be sharing the French version of this presentation in the follow-up package that Natasha mentioned earlier. We'd like to take this opportunity to remind everyone to please mute their microphones during the presentation. And at the end of our presentation, we will be having a Q&A session. As Natasha mentioned, please drop your questions at any time in the Q&A, and we'll be sure to respond to them after the session. So I will be your host, Sharon Pires. I am a Senior Communications Strategist at Innovation Canada, and I'm joined by Constance O'Brien. Today, we're going to give you a brief introduction to Innovation Canada and a description about some of the programs that Innovation Canada has to support Canadian businesses. We're going to speak to Constance and hear a little bit about the services that innovation advisors can provide to Canadians, and will be followed up with a question and answer session. What we'd like you to leave today's session with is an understanding of Sorry, just a moment. We'd like you to leave with an understanding of all the programs that Innovation Canada has to offer, as well as the Business Benefits Finder, and leave you with a list of contact information to help you connect with an innovation advisor in your area. So let's talk about what Innovation Canada has to offer businesses. Innovation Canada's programs are divided into 2 categories: services and funding. On the funding side, we have Innovative Solutions Canada, or ISC. This helps Canadian innovators by funding research and development and testing prototypes in real-life settings. ISC challenges innovators to tackle specific innovation issues. Companies who are successful in the challenge phase may be invited to participate in additional opportunities to work with Innovative Services Canada. Then we have the Canada Digital Adoption Program. CDAP supports Canadian companies to enhance their e-commerce and to give their business a digital edge through 2 streams of funding. The Strategic Innovation Fund, or SIF, provides larger scale funding, typically $10 million or more, to help cutting-edge innovators scale and develop and commercialize. Then we have the Global Innovation Clusters. This brings together businesses, academic institutions, and not-for-profit organizations to foster innovation ecosystems with a competitive edge. Canada currently has 5 clusters. They're the Digital Technology Cluster, the Protein Industries, Advanced Manufacturing, Scale AI, and the Ocean Cluster. On the services side, we have BizPal. It's an online tool maintained through active working partnerships with municipal, provincial, territorial, and federal governments to help businesses identify the licenses and permits that they may need wherever they are in Canada. Explore IP is Canada's intellectual property marketplace online. It's where businesses can find Crown-held intellectual property and explore possible licensing and collaboration opportunities with the public sector patent holders. Elevate IP increases intellectual property awareness and educational opportunities to support businesses and innovators in Canada, and thus allows companies to secure and maintain their intellectual property rights. Please note that at the end of this session, you'll receive an email package where we'll share more information about some of the resources and about the programs you heard about today. If you want to learn more about these programs and services, you will find them on our website. So now let's focus on two of the ways Innovation Canada can help find the programs and services that are right for you. They're going to help start and grow your business. One is by using our online tool, the Business Benefits Finder, and the other is through the innovation advisors who are positioned across the country. But I'll let my colleague Constance tell you a little bit more about their services in a moment. The Business Benefits Finder is a unique tool which brings together the offerings of programs and services from the federal, provincial, and territorial governments, as well as some from nonprofits. The Business Benefits Finder is not just for businesses in operation. There's a lot of support programs available for startups too. In fact, we have 490 programs specifically geared towards startups. The Business Benefits Finder is designed to help you answer the question, what can government do for my business right now? You'll find innovation programs that you heard about, plus hundreds of others. You can also find funding, wage subsidies, loans, tax credits, and expert advice. So now let's take a look at how it works with a live demonstration. Start by visiting innovation.canada.ca. This is the website you'll see. All you have to do is respond to a few quick questions, and you'll receive a tailored list of programs and services. It all takes about 2 minutes. You can narrow your search with filters for active or open applications, businesses owned or led by underrepresented people, or focus on a specific area of interest like advice or tax credits. In this demonstration, I've put in that I'm looking for funding and expert advice of up to $250,000. My goal that I've put in here is to conduct research and development. And also you can choose as many or as few as you like. You can also choose not sure wherever you're interested. Here, you can tell a little bit about the business at hand. We've put in that we're interested in the clean tech and environment, and you can put in which stage of development you're at. In this situation, we've chosen any. Now we're putting in our location and what our industry is. For today, we're going to select business support and administration, and specifically business support and employment services and waste management. We're going to put in a little bit of information about the company itself. 3 employees with annual revenue in the range of $0 to $100,000. Here you can put in that you're incorporated, whether or not you're for profit, and whether or not this is a great category, and I want to take a moment to talk about this. In this question here, you can put in as many or as few categories that you as a business owner identify with. Note that by selecting anything in this category, you are not being screened out of other programs. Rather, you will be informed of programs that you're eligible for, in addition to all of the programs that you would be eligible for as a result of the information you put in your news stories. These are extra results tailored just for you. In this situation, we've put in that we're a Canadian business owner, women entrepreneurs, and under 40. Now we're clicking OK, and we're going to put in that we're looking for only programs that are currently accepting clients. Thank you so much. So here you'll see a summary of your story, all of the answers you provided to help filter the results. You'll see your results in this. You can also notice right here that there's a save button. You can save your story so that you can come back anytime to be able to see the results that you put in. The save feature is fantastic because it also will let you know when any new programs are added that you're eligible for. It will also let you know of any approaching deadlines, and will keep you informed of anything that you are eligible for here. You can also save multiple types of stories with different answers and come back to them all at the same page. So getting back to our results here, you'll notice that your results are tailored. Your tailored results are grouped by category. We have funding advice, advice and expertise, loans and capital investments, tax credits, wage subsidies, and more. In each category, you'll see the programs that are most likely to relate to your needs. Each one comes with a brief description. And when you click on it, a slightly more detailed description will appear. It'll let you know what the status of the program is, at a brief glance, what the money, funding limits, stacking, what criteria you need to meet. And at the bottom of the tile, you'll see a yellow button that will link you to the program website where you can go to find more information directly from the organization itself. We've taken a lot of the time out of it for you and done some of the legwork by giving you at a glance what you need to know about the support that's available there. As you scroll towards the bottom of the page, you'll see that we've thrown in a couple extras too, things you weren't necessarily looking for that might be useful anyway. Thank you so much. And again, a reminder that you can stay up to date by saving your story so you don't need to re-enter information each time. That's where you can do it. You can also sign up to receive notifications via email if the programs that you matched with change or when a brand new program is introduced that meets your needs. Next, we're going to talk about our First Things First blog. You might have caught this at the beginning, at the bottom of the Business Benefits Finder list, but I wanted to point out this blog. It's called First Things First, and you may want to check it out. It features articles from experts with information that can assist you in building stronger applications, in navigating what options may be right for you. Here at Innovation Canada, we try to provide business owners with as much assistance as we can, but sometimes you just need a direct connection with someone who can answer your questions, and that's where innovation advisors come in. The innovation advisors work with businesses who are incorporated, established, and ready to grow, and can help them navigate the support that's available to them. It can connect them with business support organizations. So with that, I'm pleased to now turn things over to my colleague, innovation advisor, Constance O'Brien.
Thanks so much, Sharon. Thank you for walking through the Business Benefits Finder. And if you look at this slide here, I'll just kind of give a little bit of a context of the Business Benefits Finder is really a great place to start. It is, it covers everything, and really where the innovation advisors come in is really in support of that for companies that are a little bit further along in terms of their scale-up trajectory and have more complex needs when it comes to innovation and growth. And so if we want to look at the next slide, I'll give you a little bit of background on who we are, what we do, and what kind of role we can play. So for a little bit of background, and Natasha, thank you so much for your kind introduction at the start. Really, when we look at innovation advisors, we're a really interesting bunch of people right across the country. And so we're really, the majority of us are either actually former entrepreneurs, like a lot of my colleagues, or folks with significant private sector background. So we've worked in a broad range of sectors. We've been on the other side of the table, and so we really think that we can understand the challenges that growing companies and entrepreneurs face as they start to scale and grow, not just in Canada, but also internationally. And so we're all pretty well linked into our local entrepreneurial ecosystems, and we really look to support businesses to reach those growth goals and their potential in market by helping them navigate through the services that are available at the government level, as well as within the ecosystem. So we can skip to the next slide. this is a great representation of our coverage and how we work across Canada. So we have over 40 people in our innovation advisory team right across Canada, from coast to coast to coast. And so this is an overview of where we sit. And as I said previously, all of these innovation advisors have private sector experience, have been on your side of the table, and are well connected in with the local ecosystems from the government side, as well as the innovation center side, as well as within academia and even within the private sector as well. So we're a true kind of pan-Canadian team. So regardless of where you sit in Canada, there's an innovation advisor and an innovation advisory team ready and close by to help out. So how do we help and what do we do? So really what we're set up to do is really a couple of different ways that we can connect and work with innovators and high growth entrepreneurs, but we offer a number of different services for entrepreneurs at that stage. And really it's kind of from that scale up onwards. And we help to identify and discover the right programs and services that are going to be a fit for the activities that you're investing in and how you're looking to grow, and some of maybe the challenges that you're coming up against as you continue to scale and grow. And we'll really help you navigate those supports. So we kind of see ourselves as the connectors. We don't administer any programs, we don't write checks, but where we can be helpful is in consolidating the view of multiple government partners and helping you navigate that in the most streamlined and effective way possible for your business. So we can bring the right partners to the table at the right time and give you a little bit of context on where to focus your efforts when it comes to some of the government programs and services at the right time. And there's very much a case of making those connections and connecting you into the right people at the right time as you grow and scale. So if we move to the next slide, one of the ways that we do that is within an engagement that we call our growth service. And so this is for companies that are, have built a little bit of traction in the market. They are definitely in the scale up stage. They have validated product market fit and started along that growth and scale up trajectory. So where we work in this area is by bringing multiple government partners together to the table. We cut down on fragmented, siloed conversations and bring everyone together for almost like I like to call it like a company SWAT team. And so we'll bring folks together, and we'll see on the next slide a little bit later, all of the different partners that we bring to that table. But it's like BDC, EDC, NRC, IRAP, your local economic development agency, so it would be FedDev here in Ontario, in Southern Ontario, as well as any other government departments or agencies that we think are going to be relevant to the conversation we're having with your company. And so really what we do is work with that company. We'll bring everyone together. That company can present who they are, what they're doing, and how they're growing. And then we'll do that roundtable conversation of identifying exactly which of those partners can support and where they can support. And then your innovation advisor, like myself, would work with you over a 12 to 18 month period to make sure that you're getting access to those supports and you're connecting in with the right people at the right time. So it's a slightly longer term engagement, but really can be helpful in getting you to where you're going, just maybe that little bit quicker, and hopefully with a little less confusion and a little less siloed conversations or fragmented conversations. We like to think we can bring a heads together approach, and that's really what the growth service is about. So if we move to the next slide, you can see some of the partners that we do bring together. And I'm seeing that there's a question in the chat. It's completely free. This is a free service. It is a nomination-based service. So we will look at each company in terms of eligibility, And we will look at each company in terms of the ability and whether it's the right time to engage with these multiple government partners through this format. And so, but it is completely free, and also as an innovation advisor, as a public servant, you know, at the federal level, we'll work with both federal, provincial, and even with municipal partners where it makes most sense to really get a full 360 view of what's available or what's going to be the best fit for your business as you continue to grow and scale. What I will say is that based on that, when you have the conversations with your innovation advisor, you can note that we are, you know, as federal employees, everything you say to us is kept confidential. So we don't share any of that information with any other government party without your express consent. And so when we look at a nomination for a growth service and to bring in these multiple government partners, that is one thing that we'll ask for is a consent to share information with those partners, so we can have that heads together approach and the conversation about how we can help at a really holistic level. So if we go to the next page, I think we have a couple of the programs that are most utilized, most leveraged, that can be a really good fit for companies in the startup and into scale up stage. And I won't go through all of them. Maybe you've got some questions about them, or how to access them, or how to think about them in the next stages. I know that Sharon is going to be doing some Q&A with me, so here to answer some of your questions. One thing I will say is that obviously a lot of this is pretty, it can be pretty dependent on your unique situation and your unique company profile, what you're doing, where you're going, and where you're allocating capital and resources within the business. So please, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but you know, maybe don't share too much any proprietary or sensitive information in the chat. We can share as well some of the details of how to get you connected to your own innovation advisor in your area and connect in that way as well. So I'll leave it there and pass it over to Sharon, and happy to open it up for any questions that you guys might have.
Thanks so much, Constance. As we promised you at the start of the session, we promised we would provide you with contact information to help you get in touch with an innovation advisor in your area. We have the phone number for our call center. Those folks will ask you a few questions and point you in the right direction. Or you can feel free to use the regional email addresses that you see here for all of the areas that our innovation advisors are located in across Canada. We're also pleased to tell you that today we have a new mailbox for Indigenous-led businesses to connect with special innovation advisors. So again, thank you so much, Constance, for telling us about how much innovation advisors have to offer Canadian businesses. This brings us to our Q&A session, where participants have an opportunity to interact with our panelists. We'll turn things over to you. Do you have any questions for our guests? S'il vous plaît, n'hésitez pas à poser votre question dans la langue officielle de votre choix. I do have a question to kick things off.
Mm-hmm.
And Constance, what is the #1 piece of advice to businesses starting out that want to explore government programs and support?
Okay, so it's a great question, and honestly, the first place I would ask you guys to check out is really the Business Benefits Finder. It's an amazing tool, and it really encompasses everything, right from kind of the top line, the federal programs, right through to provincial, and then even municipal and sector-specific programs that would be a fit for you. So definitely would start there. How I would think about it is, and I don't think anybody's interested in like an economics 101, but we'll bring it back to the building blocks, which is really that a lot of the federal and provincial programs are set up to essentially incentivize specific activities within the economy that the government wants to see, that kind of rolls up into building Canada's competitiveness, not just in Canada, but also obviously internationally. And so when you look at some of the programs, they're set up to incentivize those specific activities. So one thing that I would suggest for those businesses is to think about the activities that they are focused on, that's going to be key and core to their growth. That's going to be the areas that they are investing and allocating capital and time and resources within their business too. And think of it like that as an approach to look at the different types of programs that are available to support those key activities. And so, we know that there, are ones around IP that have been, released and announced in the last number of months. Specifically around R&D has always been an area that the government has had multiple different programs, delivered by different agencies to support and focus on. And then obviously you have export focused programs through Can Export from the Trade Commissioner Service, as well as a lot of the products and services that EDC provide to help de-risk and mitigate some of that uncertainty for Canadian exporters. So if we look at it from kind of an activity-based side of it, I think that can sometimes be the easiest way to kind of navigate and think about it. One of the things that I will say is that at that kind of provincial and even federal level, those bigger ticket programs, generally they will look for incorporation. So you'll probably have to have a minimum of 12 months of incorporation for quite a lot of them. This is broadly speaking, every single program have their own eligibility criteria, but broadly speaking, that's something that we see quite a lot of. Initially as well, we'll see that they are having, that they'll look for a baseline level of revenue, and that can shift depending on the program. But something to think about is, the financials that you've recognized in the last 2 years, your incorporation, and where you're allocating, the capital for growth and those activities within the business.
Wonderful. So actually, another question about your answer, Constance, like how does a know whether or when to apply for the bigger programs like IRAP, for example?
Yeah, so it's a really great question, and IRAP specifically can be really, really helpful in helping to mitigate some of the costs or offset some of the operational costs that are incurred by businesses who are investing in R&D and new processes and services and bringing that to market. So one thing I would say is that they do have specific eligibility requirements, and so that could be based on obviously the capital that you potentially raise that you're allocating towards that R&D. It could be the number of FTE that you have that you're again have focused on that R&D, and so there are a couple of different ways to think about it, and definitely I know from a geographical perspective, IRAP have different requirements depending on where you sit. So when it comes to IRAP specifically, I would suggest that you get in touch with them. They have a phone number, which I'm sure we can share as well, to connect you with your local IRAP body, your local IRAP office. And there's a whole host of people there who can help give you a bit of a sense of, whether or not you would be eligible now, or when you would be eligible, when to circle back, what things that they will look for when they look to onboard you as a client. And one of the other things that I would say that, that maybe is sometimes overlooked with IRAP and with a lot of other government programs and services is that, the support that comes doesn't always come in the form of a check, but that doesn't mean that it's any less valuable. So I know that IRAP specifically have a number of advisory services that can be really powerful and really helpful in kind of scaling you up and helping build your that traction in scale up, whether it be advice around IP, whether it be advice around cybersecurity, and even about kind of productivity gains and looking at the efficiencies within your business. So what I would suggest is having an open mind and looking at it not just in the form of what you can get as a check, but where there may be other services that will ultimately get you where you're going a little bit faster, and hopefully, offset the cost of any, consultants or third parties that you would have to bring in to get the same level of advice.
Thanks. Before we move on to our next question, we did have someone comment in the chat, are having trouble with all of the acronyms, and we apologize.
There are. It's alphabet soup here. I apologize. There are, yes, government is, we're full of acronyms. We love our acronyms, so apologies. NRC IRAP is the National Research Council, and you have the ITA, who is your account manager with IRAP, is called the Industrial Technology Advisor, and so they're basically your go-to account manager, go-to person, the person that you would work with on projects for R&D and your kind of R&D and development focus.
Awesome. So one of the questions that we got is, are Innovation Canada services for tech companies, or are they for everyone? This is something we get time.
They are for everyone. They are for everyone. So I think it really, again, kind of depends on the activities that you're investing in and what kind of areas you're working on. But yes, innovation is not solely the domain of technology companies. We work with companies right across a very broad range of sectors. So personally in my portfolio, I work with food and drink companies. I work with CPG companies. We look at companies that are investing in R&D, in innovation, in growth, in expansion, who are looking to grow and scale internationally with that growth mindset. And so there's we're not just a tech company focused. We work with companies right across the board.
Awesome. Another question that we got is from Ray. He's asking, how could he become an innovation advisor? He's a strategic marketer. Ray, thank you so much for your interest. A lot of our innovation advisors do come from the private sector with a wealth of information behind them. Constance can probably tell you a little bit more, but we are always hiring. You're always welcome to watch out for jobs with Innovation Canada at jobs.gc.ca.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure we can share that link afterwards as well.
One of the fantastic questions that we got is, do you have any recommendations for businesses that are just starting? We've taken a brief look through the Business Benefits Finder, but as a startup in the service and private healthcare industry, not enough time has gone by to show on an application if their business is worth investing in. I don't know how to get startup funding. Are grants my only option if loans and banks won't support me?
Okay, so Erin, thank you for the question. It's a great question. I think it's going to depend on again where you're focused within that sector, within that area. I think it depends on where you're allocating capital and focus. Do you have, are you doing R&D? If so, are you generating IP? Are there areas where we can support you in terms of protecting the IP that you are generating and help you to navigate, IP strategy, even if you are, a little bit further away from commercialization, which obviously in kind of healthcare, med tech, and biosciences, life sciences sector can be a longer can be a longer journey from kind of inception, the startup, to commercialization. So yes, there are different things to look at. I think yes, grants can be really helpful. I think it depends on what you're applying for grants, whether it's R&D, whether it's hiring people, whether you are protecting IP or expanding and commercializing internationally. I think it kind of depends on what your key focus for the next kind of 12 months are, but would strongly suggest and encourage you guys to connect in with your local ecosystem. So those incubators and accelerators, and I'm sure the folks here, Natasha, and the rest of the folks at Startup can help you identify the right local incubator or ecosystem hub that can help you to identify what is available within your space or what's going to be most effective or the best fit for you right now.
Thanks. We have a question. Where can we get the list of products and services and contacts for small businesses? Or is this something our innovation advisor will navigate for us? So we showed you the business benefits finder earlier at innovation.canada.ca. There is a helpful link at the very bottom of that page that says show all programs. So if you click on that, you will actually get a list of all of the programs that are available, an unfiltered list of all the programs that are available on the Business Benefits Finder. There's about 1,500 programs there, I believe. So it's a great place to find in one spot everything that there is to offer on the Business Benefits Finder. At the end of this meeting, we will also be sharing a follow-up package that has links to all of the Innovation Canada programs and services that we have. And I'll let Constance tell you a little bit more about what else an innovation advisor can put in front of you. Oh, right here, you can see right there. Thank you so much, Leanne, who is driving the screen for us. Leanne has just clicked and shown you where you can find all of the results that the Business Benefits Finder has, an unfiltered list. You can use that bar on the right-hand side to filter down for programs and services that would be right for you. But this is your one-stop shop, a single window to be able to find everything that government has to offer for your business. Thank you, Leanne. Constance, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that, you know what, I think the Business Benefits Finder is a great place to start. I think also I would suggest you connect in with your local ecosystem, especially if you're very early stage. And I do see a question in the chat around ideation phase initially. And so what I would say is that, you know, when you look at Business Benefits Finder, especially if you are in that early ideation or kind of really very early pre-commercialization stage, and you're kind of still figuring out, you know, your MVP, sorry, that is the minimal viable product, or your kind of your prototype and what that's going to look like. I would really suggest that you connect in with your local ecosystem. So again, looking at your regional innovation centers that are close by to you. I know we're going out kind of right across Canada today, but so hypothetically, if you were in Ottawa, you know, there's a ton of resources there, but also Invest Ottawa is a great place to start and does help with kind of bringing you through the process and giving you materials of how to think about it and what stages you should be, or what things you should be looking at each stage. So hypothetically within ideation or that very early stage, they'll direct you to resources that they would have internally or that, you know, other larger ecosystems have internally that can help guide you and make sure that you're taking off all of the right boxes as you move through that ideation stage before you get to kind of bringing something to market or kind of really consolidating your plan for the product, for the service, for what you're going to be bringing to market.
Thank you. So Constance again was just speaking to the question of what resources exist for startups in the ideation phase. Another question that we have is, are there any innovation advisors that specialize in BIPOC and women-led or owned businesses?
So there are, I'm sure, again, you have the link to the full kind of interactive map of who we are, where we sit, and I'm very proud to say we have a great mix of innovation advisors right across Canada who, you know, are pretty diverse in terms of gender and representation. And so I think anybody in that group is going to be a great advocate for you and a great navigator for you in terms of identifying, you know, the programs and services and support that are available specifically for you know, women-led or diverse or underrepresented, traditionally underrepresented groups in business and entrepreneurship. So, well, while all of the innovation advisors should be well-versed, like, feel free to reach out to any of the innovation advisors that you feel most comfortable or speaking with or want to work with. And again, that business benefits finder tool that Sharon showed as well, you can add in that additional slicer, that additional filter to show any programs or services that may be a good fit for you if you identify as a BIPOC or women-led business.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And so another question that we have is, could an innovation advisor help us with IRAP and the appropriate time to access IRAP?
Yes. So one of the things I would say is that IRAP does have slightly different requirements depending on where you are in the country and what you're working on. So while we can help, NRC IRAP is a separate agency. We work very closely with our NRC IRAP partners with a lot of our clients. But what I would say is if you want to know exactly where you stand and when is the right time to connect in with them, I would call them. So I'm happy we can share that number number to call IRAP. It is a call center. There's no kind of other way around it. It's the exact same as what I would say to my clients that I'm working with on a one-to-one basis. Connect in with them, speak to kind of their first line, their client engagement officers and advisory team, and they will get a sense of who you are, what you're doing, what stage you're at within your business. And they'll give you a pretty good idea of when the right time is. If it's not right now, maybe it's in 6 months, maybe it's once you hit this growth milestone, they'll be able to tell you pretty clearly what the kind of, when to circle back.
Another question that we have is, my organization is called Inventors Circle Co-op. Most of our members are interested in licensing their inventions to other companies. Do you have services that could help them advance their inventions to a licensable stage? I'm thinking of technical help for testing, prototyping, and research.
It's a great question. So, sorry, one of the things that I would highlight is obviously all of these innovators. I would suggest that they link in with their, if they're not already linked in with their local academic institutions to see if there are opportunities to get support through student hiring programs, for such as MyTax. Again, we can share that later. They have some great programs that match, private sector with academia to move the ball forward on some of the research or the projects that they're working on in that space. There are other programs that could be a fit for, again, moving forward on R&D and technology and bringing that to an IP state, something that is protectable and proprietary. So whether it be through, again, NRC IRAP, whether it be through some of the academic, the public-private partnership type of programs. One thing, if you're in Ontario, apologies, I can't see where you're sitting right now. There's an organization called OCI, which does a lot of, funding support for public and for partnerships between private companies and academia to, again, continue to move the ball forward on R&D and technology. So OCI is the Ontario Centre of Innovation. Again, apologies for the acronyms. Sometimes they just they pop out. So that's definitely one of them. And then on the other side, one thing that I would suggest that they look into is IP, Elevate IP and IP Assist. And some of the resources that we have launched to be able to navigate IP licenses, what is there, what can be partnered with, where they can license, and even where they can share what they've been working on. I don't know, does that help? Message into the chat if there's anything additional that you want me to speak to.
Great, thank you so much for that, Constance. I also would like to go into our next question. It is a question asking, what does the government have to offer group home businesses?
Group home businesses. You know what? I'm not entirely sure. I don't have it. I wouldn't have it on the tip of my tongue. What I would say is,
And
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead and check out the Business Benefits Finder.
Mm-hmm.
That is your first stop to find out. You can put in your filters to say what industry you're in, and you may be able to find something there that may point you in the direction of what is available for group home for a group home. And then your next stop would be calling our phone number, which we're going to drop in the chat right now. Our call will be able to help you navigate some of those results and put you in touch with an innovation advisor if you're at that stage. So another question that we got is, Constance, could you give us an example of a grant for a startup that's focused on employing women in tech?
Okay, so there again, great question. I think it depends on, again, I hate having this prefix, but it's going to depend quite a lot on where you are, where you're focused, and what you're doing, and again, what you want to hire those women to do. So again, there's definitely some hiring opportunities or wage subsidies that are available depending on the sector you're in, depending on the type of employees you want to hire. I want to say hypothetically, if you were in the med tech or health tech space, I know there's a great organization here in Ontario called OBIO, which is Ontario Bioscience and Innovation Organization, and they are solely focused on health tech and med tech. But they have some great subsidies for women in health and companies that are looking to hire women at all stages of the company in that space. So again, unfortunately, I'm going to be really annoying and tell you that it kind of depends. But again, Business Benefits Finder should highlight that if you want to put in talent and wages.
Thank you so much. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you, Constance, is should I incorporate? And this ties into one of the questions that we got in the chat, which is, are there resources available for sole proprietorship businesses or unincorporated sole proprietorship businesses? And, should a business incorporate?
Okay, so it's a pretty loaded question. The thing is that, like anything, like any of the structures that you're looking at, there are pros and cons to every decision, kind of on where you want to go, what you want to do. There are some requirements. There are some requirements at some of the program levels that will look for articles of incorporation as a baseline, but that is not always required. It's going to very much depend on your own company, what you're doing, and who you are, and what makes most sense for you. So on the question of incorporation, yes, it will come up in terms of eligibility requirements here and there. Speak to an advisor, speak to a mentor, speak to an accountant. It's gonna be pretty situational dependent. Again, like everything, pros and cons to everything. And one thing I would say just on that is that you are going to see, as you kind of navigate a lot of these programs, that there are maybe requirements. There are eligibility requirements, or there are areas that are being funded and areas that are scoped out of those funding programs. And one thing that I would say is that, as you start thinking about, where you're going the next 12 to 18 months of your business, whether it's, developing technology within a business or looking at net new markets to explore, I would look at it in terms of your growth strategy, your roadmap for the next 12 to 18 months. And if there is a program that is available that will offset some of the costs of that, or will support some of the costs of the work that you're doing that you had on your roadmap for, this time next year, or even, later this year, and you can pull it forward and you can get a little bit of relief or support to do it, then fantastic. One thing that I would, caution against, and I know that there's a lot of very seasoned entrepreneurs on this call, so it's not again, don't want to say anything that you guys don't already know, but don't let the tail wag the dog on a lot of these programs. They're there for a reason, and they shift, they change, and so stay true to your core business, your core focus, take advice and you know, direction where it makes sense. And obviously we'll pivot and change, but you know, where there's an opportunity to take advantage of some of these programs and it doesn't derail or change where you're really focused, have at it. It's a great way to navigate and get some additional working capital into your business. But you know, stay true to your original focus too.
Constance, we have just 2 more questions we're going to try and squeeze in where we're almost out of time here. One is, could you help an entrepreneur find programs to support his educational technology company using the Business Benefits Finder? He's having some trouble finding programs and was wondering if you could help.
Yeah, sure. I mean, is there a specific area? If you're in the chat, please add, you know, are there specific areas that you're looking for support in? Is it in hiring? Is it in technology development? Is it in, you know, finding net new markets to sell and commercialize in? You know, what are the areas that you're looking at? And happy to kind of help you navigate on that side of it. If there's nothing coming up within the Business Benefits Finder, it may be just that, you know, there may not necessarily be funding or grant financing or support programs that are supporting those specific activities that you're looking to invest in. But let me know if there's the specific area.
Thank you.
Okay, Nasrin.
Thank
Funding
you so
and
much.
mentorship advice. Nasrin, I'm gonna say, I know we're short on time, Sharon. I'm gonna say funding and mentorship advice. Funding, definitely have a look into Business Benefits Finder. Secondarily, I would suggest that you connect in with your either local innovation advisor through some of the channels that we've mentioned previously, or in with your regional innovation center. So an ecosystem partner who can really help with specializing and personalized advice on how to navigate this.
We have so many fantastic questions, and we're struggling to get to them all in time, but we are share our contact information on the screen. So we would love for you to send us an email, and we'll try and get to your question if we weren't able to get to it today. The last question that we're going to take is, Constance, could you quickly tell us what a typical session with an innovation advisor would look like?
For sure. So first and foremost, we'll sit down and have a call with you. It'll be maybe 30 to 45-minute call. And really it's a get to know you call. We'll understand who you are, what you're doing, you know, what the focus of your business is, what you've done to date, where you're focused on going, and so some of the areas that you are focused on in terms of delivering that growth goal and strategy. We'll ask some questions about, you know, FTE and revenue and you know, IP within the business and some of the other areas that are going to again help us figure out where you may be eligible or what may be a good fit for you at this time. But really it's kind of understanding the, you know, 1 or 2 of the kind of key areas that you want to focus on right now, and solving for that or identifying areas that are going to be the best fit for you. Sometimes, you know, not always, but sometimes we do have, you know, the conversation saying, look, right now, based on what you're doing, there aren't really that many opportunities for you. And so we'll give you kind of a quick no, which sometimes I think is better. And maybe it's a no, but once you hit, you know, revenue of this, or once you, you know, hit this growth milestone, come back. This is going to be, you know, the right time to take advantage of this once you've gotten to, you know, this stage or that stage. And so we'll do it kind of in a stage-based process. Right now, this is where we think you should focus, or these other areas you can look into. And then once you get to the next stage, these are other things we would encourage in 6 to 12 months time you to circle back and investigate or explore at that stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Constance, for all your insightful advice. Should you wish to follow up with each of us, I have our contact information up on the screen right now, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you may have or any questions that we weren't able to get to today. Don't worry about scrambling to copy this down. This and all the other email information that we've shared with you will be shared in an email package along with our presentation, the contact information, and the links to some of the resources that we talked about today. Please feel feel free to get in touch with us if you're looking for more information. Thank you for joining us. N'hésitez pas à nous contacter si vous souhaitez obtenir de plus informations et merci à tous à vous joindre nous aujourd'hui. Thank you so much to Startup Canada for having us. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our host, Natasha Moreno. Thank you again for having us here.
Thank you, Sharon and Constance, for that educational and detailed overview of Innovation Canada and really the depth of services that you offer. A few key takeaways for me: the scope of the Business Benefits Finder, over, what did you say, 490 programs for startups, was something that I was very pleased to learn. Also, the number of innovation advisors, 40 of them across Canada there to support innovators and entrepreneurs, is absolutely fantastic. So again, thank you so much, Sharon and Constance. To all of the entrepreneurs and innovators joining us today, we are so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedules to be here. Now, we value feedback here at Startup Canada. So you can see there's a poll that has been populated on the screen. We'd greatly appreciate it if you could complete this before you leave. I assure you it'll take no more than probably 30 seconds. We have about 30 seconds left here. So as these questions populate, again, I would like to thank our partners for Startup Gov, our presenting partner, Amazon, program partners, MasterCard and Export Development Canada, and ecosystem partner, Moneris. Thank you once again to Innovation Canada for making today possible. That is a wrap, everybody. Merci, and we hope to see you again soon. Have a lovely day and a great week. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.